Hi, Scott. Good to see you. Um,
Nice to see you too.
so go ahead and share with folks, if you could tell them your name and then a little bit about your path in dispute resolution, where you started, and the various jobs and schooling that you've explored to pursue this path in a career path in ADR.
Sure. My name is Scott Hinkle. I currently live in the United Kingdom, and I am a independent consultant, labeling myself as a conflict security and development consultant. I started out as a community mediator and volunteer coordinator for the Center for Conflict Resolution, and trained in mediation there, and did mediations there, and then ended up going into volunteer management and doing trainings and that sort of thing. But I've always had the interest in the international side of things. I like to travel and challenge myself in that way. And so I wanted to see how I could move the skill sets and the concepts that ADR teaches and bring them into an international context. And so in 2009, I did something called the Rotary Conflict and Peace Studies program, and that's a 3-month intensive conflict resolution training in Bangkok, Thailand. And from that, I basically learned to expand a lot of these concepts and ideas into a macro level, analyzing social cultural dynamics, geopolitics, natural resource conflicts, a lot of different elements, but still utilizing the same ADR skills that we use in mediations, needs and interests and empathy, but just taking them to a bigger scale. Then I went on to get my master's at the University of Sussex in conflict security and development, and then after that I was a social scientist and conflict advisor for NATO ISAF in Afghanistan. There I was responsible for interviewing Afghan populations and doing research on Afghan populations to identify their needs, perceptions, and opinions of a variety of different subjects. And then I would advise NATO strategy and operational procedures on how to integrate these needs and perspectives into their strategy, and then in order to enhance, security, governance, and development. So I returned about 6 months ago, and now I've opened up shop as an independent consultant, doing conflict analysis, policy analysis, revolving around conflict, and governance and development and initiatives inside of conflict regions. So that's
Wow.
kind of a mouthful.
I mean, I've been doing a lot of these interviews, and your story is certainly unique. Where you have taken those roots, or where you have gone from those roots in community mediation here in Chicago. So I appreciate you sharing with folks that story and that path. As you've been going along that path, what would you say is the advice you got for how to achieve success in this field, and what have been some of the challenges that you have faced?
Honestly, the advice I got was not much. There was a few people I talked to along the way that had done similar things in the international field, but they hadn't necessarily transferred from a mediation into this. So a lot of it was just kind of figuring things out as I go. But it was also just sticking to the principles, which is, collaboration, clarification, needs and interests, and following opportunities when they came up, and building relationships. That was pretty much how I have transferred from one place to the other. So I didn't get a lot of advice. I would have loved to have a mentor or something like that, and probably would be more advanced at the time if I did have that. Some of the challenges I faced is a lot of the international agencies, international development, governance, security, they like to put people into niches, and because you're a conflict specialist, you cross-cut across everything. So everybody appreciates the skills that you have, but you don't necessarily fit that sort of dogmatic job description that everybody's used to utilizing. And when you're dealing with these large institutions, that can be hard to bypass that sort of barrier. But it can be done, yeah, and then mostly about meeting people and developing relationships and getting those contacts, I would say.
And so I know we've talked a lot about the future of your career and dispute resolution, conflict resolution, and the work that you're doing. Um, would you talk a little bit about why you're optimistic for the future, and if you have advice for others that might be looking to get into this type of a field that you're doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I am optimistic about the future, and I am going through some, professional development challenges at the moment. But I still feel that there's a lot of opportunities out there for people like myself. A couple different reasons. One is because this sounds kind of cheesy, but it's because I do value collaboration. I think a lot of people utilize collaboration because they're forced into it, but I really feel that it does create dynamic results. So therefore, I'm very eager to build those relationships. And again, I think that is the foundation for a lot of success. And secondly, it's proven to work for me anyways. And so secondly, I think that there is a lot of momentum out there in the policy world, in the international development world, in the international security world, where a lot of funding and a lot of focus and a lot of academic writing is shifting towards conflict and how it impacts these three different areas, and they are wanting to know more about it. So they are starting to look hard and fast at conflict experts and people that come with this sort of expertise. And I've had a lot of success when knocking on doors because of my resume and because of that conflict resolution background. So I feel like there is a lot of opportunities out there in the future, and I feel like there will be continuing. There will be an increasing amount for younger generations, I hope.
Well, thank you, Scott, for sharing that. I think I just want to make sure that I'm highlighting, summarizing one of the things that you said about the importance of collaboration. I think that that's been a real theme in these interviews, is the relationships that we have, that we're building, the value that we see in the variety of different work that we do, and how we can enhance each other's careers because of that. So I want to say thank you for taking the time to do this interview. It's good to talk with you across the pond, and look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thanks for having me, and yeah, good luck to anyone out there that wants to do it. And I would say, follow your passion, and yeah, you'll be all right.
Right on. Follow your passion. I love it. Thank you, Scott.